Welcome back, everybody. So this week we have a ton of snow outside, so the forge is kind of buried, so we're going to try something different. I'm going to do the start of making an English longbow arrow. Normally I would cut my own shafts for this and dry them out, but with this week's episode I just bought a few dowels. They're not very strong, they're kind of flimsy, but we'll see how they turn out once we cast some heads for them. So I hope you enjoy. Here on the craft table in our half-finished renovated room, we have pretty well everything that is required. We have collected crow feathers, some more dowels, and the reason behind wanting to make my own arrows is Canadian Tire specials. So bought these, shot them, I don't know, 5-6 times, and they split down the center, so figured I could make something better than that and not waste $25-30 every time. We have a little bandsaw, hand bandsaw, file, measuring tape, thread. Yeah, so let's get started. So we just start off by guessing where the center's at on our dowel and marking a line, just like so. Now, the blade on this thing, I don't know if you can tell, has seen better days. It's almost smooth. So, I just used this to start it, and then I used the bigger saw to kind of make real headway. And this is just for when you go to shoot it, this is where your string, your knock, as I think they're called. So I made 2 little slices here and there, and I'm just going to use my gyprock knife to kind of break it out. Yeah, that's a good start. And the reason I don't start with the saw is because the teeth are a little too aggressive to actually do such a precise cut. So we'll run that over it. Ow. You don't have to go too deep. There we go. Well, if you look at the original one I made, I just filed the back edges so that it's kind of rounded. So we do that. Oh, just like so. And we'll repeat the process on the other one. Alright, so notches of both are completed. And next up we have feathers. So basically I collected all these from the 800 billion crows we have around our property. And you just want to pick out 3 per arrow that are about close to the same size. and try to have the same curvature to them too. So that one there is close to the same size, but it's actually off the other wing on the other side. One's a little bit bigger, but it'll do. Alright. So, for our first one, 3 feathers, 3 flights. Alright, I don't know if this is the best way. I'm using an X-Acto knife. And I'm cutting down the center of the feathers. There's even, I don't know if you're able to see that, there's even a groove on the side that makes it easier to cut. I'm going to try to get a bit of a better angle here. That part is no good, it's just a throwaway now. You always want to keep your blade angled away from the good side of your feathers. Because if you don't, then you tend to cut too much, and then you end up with a nice little bald spot. There we go. And you just repeat that 2 more times. And that's 3. Alright. Okay. Now that we have all 3, we just want to make them relatively close to the same size. Now we have this one here that's quite a bit longer than the rest. And we're going to want to shape these. So, I did these ones here while they were already on the arrow, and I don't recommend it. As you can see, they become jaded and uneven. They'll probably still do the trick, but they're ugly. So, we are going to use a pair of scissors. Now we're going to square the end. And now, from here to nothing, you may have to get something to hold it. That did not bad. We'll trim off the little spot here. There we go. And there we go. Now, the front of them here, the shaft, is a little bit long. So we're going to want to cut that back so that it's about ½ inch. And then kind of make them all the same. There we have 3 fletchings. Alright, so next up, we have our arrow shaft. going to mark down from the end 1.25 inches. I don't know if that's the right measurement. I just guessed on my first one, and it turned out pretty good. So, and just to note, these popple dowels weren't always black. I stained them because black arrows sound cool. Alright, so after you get your feathers cut and your arrows marked, you just use some super glue or crazy glue. I'm using Gorilla Glue. And you attach your fletchings to your arrow shaft. So I'm just adding some glue to the stem of it to kind of give it some extra support. But the twine will really be what holds it in place. There you go, just like so. And you just want to make sure when you're doing it that you line your fletching up. You want one running perpendicular to your knock, and then the other two will be kind of flared off from there, so that whenever you take your shot, it doesn't interfere with your bow stave. The feather kind of fights against it, so it doesn't really matter if the whole thing is stuck, as long as a little bit is stuck. The twine will kind of hold the rest. Yeah, just like so. Alright, so once you have the fletchings on both arrows, or whatever, I have it on both now because I'm doing 2. You want to take twine, any color. I picked yellow because yellow and black go together really well, so and you just kind of give it a wind and loop it around. And give her a tie. Something I'm not very good at is tying thread. So I'm going to put a small bead of super glue on it just to stop it from loosening, if it ever loosens. And you kind of just start looping it around. Make sure you keep it held tight. And this part here I find long and makes my hand cramp, but once it's done, it's also very satisfying. So you just kind of do that with it. Then you're going to want to twine it through the feathers. I really believe that this was a profession years and years ago that required quite a bit of practice and apprenticeship. So when I first started, I was using these cheap Canadian Tire arrows. Of the three, two of the metal heads on them dented. I was just shooting at cardboard boxes, and the other one fell off. And pretty well all of them split down the middle. So the shaft of them kind of shattered. And I was just using this here, this cheap Canadian Tire bow. So, and it's just a kid's trainer bow. It's nothing special. Maybe 15 pounds of force behind it, like nothing at all. So once I started making my own bows, I realized I needed something that was a little bit stronger. So I made a few. This one here is massive, and it sucks. I'm pretty sure a 2-year-old could pull this one. I cut it down in the middle of the winter. It was popple, not the greatest. And then this one here is chokecherry tree. It's not quite finished. Needs a little bit more work, but it's got some good force behind it. The only problem is I started when it was green and it dried out as I was going, so it's not going to be the most powerful bow once I'm done. But too powerful for these crappy little arrows. These ones here, they're not going to be much more forceful. They could very well break, just because they're store-bought dowels, so they are flimsy. In the future, I'm going to do another episode using pine resin, and I cut these myself, and I have been drying them out, so they're pretty well ready. So yeah, they do have to be straightened, so with some heat. In a future video, I'll straighten the shafts, cut them to length, and stain them, and we'll turn them into some arrows. Some of them have some pretty bad kinks in them, so they're not all going to pass the test. But yeah, when we do that, we're not going to use the Gorilla Glue or any type of crazy glue. We're going to make our own pine resin. Probably have an episode of that, and we'll make our own arrows from scratch. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any question or comments, feel free to message me. I'm pretty good at answering. If you like what you see, if you're interested in anything in the future that I might have on the show, just like and subscribe. Anyway, have a good day.